Welcome back to Learning How. Okay, today we're learning about
George Handel.
George Handel was born in 1685 in Germany, and he died in 1759.
Here is our picture of George Handel. And what is really crazy about him is that within the same month that he was born in Germany, Johann Sebastian Bach was also born. So two really great German composers, two really just great musicians just overall, were born within like a month of each other. Pretty fascinating. He was born in Germany, but he spent majority of his adult life in England. So both countries are highlighted on our map today. So Handel's father was both a barber and a surgeon. So back then that was a job that would go hand in hand together. And so the story goes is that Handel's father wanted him to become a lawyer. Even though secretly he snuck in a clavichord, and then he began to practice on his own to be able to learn how to make music. And apparently he became really good. So one day, Handel's father went to go give the Duke a nice little shave. And Handel accompanied his father. While his father was there shaving the Duke, Handel went into the Duke's chapel and began to play the organ. The Duke was so impressed that he convinced Handel's dad to let him study music. And that is when he learned how to become a composer. The oboe became Handel's favorite instrument. The first song that we are going to listen to by Handel is called The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. And it is part of a larger oratorio called Solomon, which is based on the stories of King Solomon in the Bible. This piece has an oboe duet that appears throughout the song. Can you hear it? This is Handel's favorite instrument. And a oboe is a woodwind instrument that has a double reed mouthpiece with a thin tube-like body with holes in it that you could be used that are covered by keys, so you can play the oboe with the by pushing the keys down to make different sounds. Any of you have an oboe that you can share with us? The next piece that we are going to learn is called the Zadok of the Priest. And what is really interesting about this song is that it was composed for the coronation of King George II in 1727. The coronation means that is when the big ceremony where he is crowned king. What's funny part is that King George II was actually the prince in Germany at the time when Handel first got a job, his job was to be the prince's, kind of like his court composer. So he was able to make music for the prince. And so Handel said, hey, I really want to study in London and really want to study in England. So send me there and I'm going to write some music in England. So he was sent there. Well, while he's in there, the Queen and the King of England died, and there weren't any other direct heirs except for this nephew that is now a prince in Germany. So long and behold, his employer, the Prince of Germany, then comes to England to become King of England, and he gets to write the coronation for his king. This is the song that is played at every coronation in England for the British monarch ever since King George II was crowned king. The next piece we're going to study of Handel's is called the Alleluia Chorus. This is probably one of the most well-known pieces that you will recognize. A lot of times we sing this at Christmas time. The Alleluia Chorus is a part of a larger oratorio called Messiah and was written in 1741. An oratorio is a large-scale musical piece that is filled with voices and instruments, but it is performed without costumes or scenery or any actions. It's just the music and voices. Oftentimes when the Alleluia Chorus is performed, the audience stands up. The final Handel piece that we are going to study is called Water Music Suite No. 2. Now this is a really cool story. So when the German prince became king, he did not speak English, and he was not as well liked because he didn't speak English and I guess couldn't communicate with the people. So to try to boost his approval ratings, he threw a huge party on the water. So he had a barge float down the River Thames, and he had Handel write this whole big 3-part orchestra to play for the guests. Now it's not just like this is like a 20-minute section. It was hours and hours of music. It was reported that the barge didn't even return back to home until 2 o'clock in the morning. So they didn't get home until like well after daybreak. I mean, I can't imagine what kind of party they were throwing. That there was probably lots of food and lots of dancing, because if you listen to the music, you can hear that it is very lively and upbeat, and the tempo is allegro, which means a very brisk tempo, a very kind of quick. And so it was first performed in 1717 after King George I asked for a concert on the River Thames in London. And so it is a part of, like I said, like a larger orchestra. So they had tons of instruments to be able to play on the water because it's outside and they didn't have speakers back then, electricity for speakers. So they had to play all these instruments together loudly so that all of the party guests could hear it. And they invited guests from all over the world. What's what? Your pants are wet. Oh no. So, oh no, we'll change your pants in a minute. So they threw this big party from people all over the world, and I think it was very much so a success. So today for Learning How, our craft is going to be making crowns to listen to build while we're listening to the coronation song for the King of England. So y'all can become your own little kings and queens. And you can make your own crowns. We made these crowns out of some colored paper that we stapled together. And we have some of these fun little sequences on hand just out of our craft closet. But you can also just use markers, or you can make your own little jewels, or use cotton balls, whatever you would like to use to decorate your crowns.
Subscribe to our channel with big thumbs up.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell, like button, and
Subscribe.
Yes. All right, Josiah, what do you want to say?
Me. I want to get the go play bell.
Gigi, what do you want to say?
Go play button.
Give it a thumbs up.
It's a
You
go
say
play
bye?
button. Go bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.